Welcome back on Dynamod. Today I want to propose you a video about
the unboxing and review about the White Dwarf issue 453, that is the May 2020, released by the Games Workshop. And I want to remember you that this is the next one after the March 1, because April 1 has been missed because the pandemic. So remember that if you see a missing in the numbers, there is such reason. Anyway, we can start to analyze the cover itself, that it's related about the Ossiarch Bonereapers, because this one it's mainly related about them, and in some way it makes the continuation of the previous White Dwarf that you can find in the description, as in the description you can find my review about the Ossiarch Bonereapers Battletome. So now we can move this aside and see the contents inside here. Here we can find the theme of the White Dwarf, the alternative cover that you can gain if you make the subscription to the White Dwarf. Here, the main, one other of the main theme inside this article, that it's how to found your own chapter, and I think that it's really quite interesting. Here we can find the contents, and here the two different artworks that are for this cover. So we had this, that is the cover without the writing, and sincerely I like, and this the alternative cover that you can find with the subscription, and in this case it's related mainly about Bonereapers, and in this case I maybe prefer this one, but this is also the one of the Ossiarch Bonereapers as cover, so maybe I'm a bit liking more this, but both of them are really quite amazing ones. Then we can flip it, we can find here the mini list of the readers to the White Dwarf itself, and you can find seen here a lot of interesting suggestions about scheme of colors, about modification and effects that you can gain. We can find a lot of interesting images, for example this theme of modeling, this base. There are a lot of interesting things that can be really quite amazing to take suggestion from, and eventually did this because it's a quite funny thing about. And here we can find, for example, a modified army. It's not complete an army, but it's a reader that modified every band that it creates, and I think that it's really a good thing to see, because you can find that you can create even small squads. You don't have to create a army, complete army, to create a modifications on. Even some single models or some small squads can be really quite amazing and interesting to create small projects that after you can combine in something more organic. Then we have here that it's an article about Phil Kelly, about some we can say fun facts about warhammer 40k, and there are a lot of interesting things. Some of them are a bit we can say okay known, some others I suggest you to read because they can be really quite interesting, also for the ones that has quite a lot of passion about the background of warhammer 40k. And there are a lot of fun facts. Here we can find a bit about Warhammer Age of Sigmar with the Ossiarch army. It's always an amazing one. One time I had to buy some models, but for now I'm trying to resist the temptation. And here we can find what it's one of the main themes about this White Dwarf, and we started with the before number of the before issue of the White Dwarf itself, that is the Bonereapers Title Legend, because this article it's related about Ossiarch Bonereapers, but mainly about Bonereapers, with a lot of background. Really, it make quite deep the background of Bonereapers and other things that happens in Shaiish, and not only Shaiish. And so there are a lot of interesting parts, interesting notes that you can find about background. It's quite amazing. But there is also the part about the rules, and if you ask me, I'll bring you also these ones, so that I create a video specific one analyzing these. And remember that these war scroll battalions are official ones, so you can play them. You have both the description of the things that are inside and the points, so you can play them without any problem. These are official ones. Here about to paint the Mortis Praetorians for the Ossiarch Bonereapers, and I suggest you to analyze because you can recreate some schemes or colors if you want, then can be used also for other things, but they are really quite interesting. A lot of interesting suggestions to take note about inside here, so pay a bit of attention. Here we can find the rules of engagement, and here they make you see how you can create rules for your own play and so on. So I think that it's really quite interesting because it lets you create something that has quite a bit of otherwise not balanced and so on. Okay, GW it's not famous for balancing their games, but at least they show you a methodic way to do, or better not to do, always a good way, but they try, and so believe me, read this if you're interested about creating your own rules, because it's quite good to read about, so pay attention. Here we can find the second part about the Wars for Hellos, that it's the continuation of the previous number, so always they are both linked, the previous one and this one. And here so we can continue with the background of the campaign, that it's really quite amazing. I suggest you to read because there are a lot of things that even if you don't play the campaign itself, the background that it's inside here, it's quite amazing one, and you can develop quite a lot of the things that has. For example, we know for sure that there has been the releasing other than Karatros, also about Stalagog, that it's a monster that has been released, and so I'm really waiting for GW releasing a new undead monster to play with. That maybe I don't think that will become a Mortarch, but in a way it can be quite interesting anyway to see on the field. Here we can find the rules that are the continuation of the previous number about the way to play the campaign, with new battle plans to play with. And here we can find if the previous number has seen the end of the Age of Sigmar for Warlords campaign of building and so on. Here it's the new campaign, we can say, about the 4 Warlords, that it's about the warbands for Warcry. And also here we can find the scheme of colors, bases and so on that can be interesting eventually, so you can find them. I don't see too many modifications here, but sincerely not mind, because there can be the scheme of colors that can be quite appreciated. Moreover, we can find also the way to play them, so we can find a battle report that, or better, a sort of battle report about how to play Warcry, so it can be quite interesting. And here we have also a way to play detail for Warlords related about Warcry too. So here we can see also what I told you in the previous number, that it was the set box that it was involving the Space Wolves and the Orcs, and here we can find the artwork related about it. Here we can find this, that it shows the experience of tournaments that has done some theme of the White Dwarf itself for the tournament, and can be interesting to see some ventures about tournaments and so on. See by yourself if you can be interested. Here we can find a fiction that involves also Guilliman, and it can be quite interesting. It's related about the crusade that Guilliman is doing, so it can be quite interesting one. And in fact we have, if before we had the fiction related about the Indomitus Crusade, now we have other background about the Indomitus Crusade. Sincerely, I'm waiting when there will be the releasing by the Games Workshop, because they'll do, about a sort of chronicles of the Indomitus Crusade with everything that is inside the White Dwarf in a single volume, so you don't have to go and search through a lot of White Dwarf to have the background and so on that you need. But it's quite interesting to read, because there are a lot of little things that you can be interested about. And here instead we can find new additional rules for the Deathwatch, and I want to make you understand that these rules are something that GW prevented with the previous facts about the Deathwatch. So probably there will be the releasing of new facts quite soon with these rules inside about the Deathwatch. So pay attention, because there will be these eventually also in a sort of public way. But these at the end are quite simple, because are the normal ability for the Angels of Death, so for the Space Marines. And so pay a bit of attention, because these can change quite a lot your ways to play. And also some stratagems that I suggest you to go to see, because they are really quite interesting ones. And believe me, these ones, I have some of them in my Blood Angels, thanks to Blood of Baal, and they are really quite interesting, so take note. And we have, as you can see, a lot of things, also litanies and so on, so really it's something that you need if you play with Deathwatch. Then we have about the orcs, because they're going to be released the new model of Gatsutraka. So here you can see the developing in the time about the model itself, or better, the orcs boss. And we can find how it changed, how it developed, and so on. I think that it's really quite interesting also to understand better the model, the parts and so on, because it's really quite big and quite rich of details, and really quite amazing one. Here the scheme of colors to paint it, and here instead we can find a sort of guide on how to create your own chapter. And I think that this can be really quite interesting for the ones that are interested about to build their own chapter, so not to be forced to play a certain chapter, so you can maybe change a bit your ways to play, because you have your personal chapter, and then change the rules based on what you want. It's not something that you should do, but you can also do it. But here you can find that you can create and develop quite a lot, so the background and so on. You can create something that can be really quite amazing one. And here instead we have the art about Nils Hollis, that it's a golden demon painter that makes show also one of its winner in the previous golden demon. And I remember that if you see that it's talking about the Golden Demon USA 2020, not mine, because this White Dwarf has been prepared before the pandemic. There has not been a Golden Demon 2020 in the USA, so remember about this. It's the preparation, this one, for the entry, not something that show you what it will be. But here you can see, for example, something that it's interesting, the way that it painted. So it painted separately different parts, so it doesn't paint it everything together after put them together, but it separated different parts and then refined after having assembled parts of them together. And having a lot of different interesting things can be quite interesting to understand how to develop a work, not only for Golden Demon, but also maybe if you want to have something that is your main character, so, or something that you want and you like a lot, and you want to paint quite a lot good, and you need something to have a referee. It can be quite interesting. Here we have an analysis about the realm of Khorne, and here I like because there is a lot of images, a lot of background, not a lot of background, but a lot of ways to see, and moreover it brings you also a lot of different ways to see how it has been modified, the models, personalized and so on, because see also this one has been changed a bit, but the final effect, it's quite amazing, so go to see this one. Eventually you can go also to see my road to diorama to see another way. Okay, in that case my core models has been made in the slaughtered one, but in a way it can be interesting if you want to see, for example, some ways to create dioramas, and you can change the way of them, so you can make that they are put in another way, but quite amazing ones. I like because there are a lot of old models and a lot of new ones. What I like a lot is this one, and I think that it's really correct to do. So bring the models that comes from Age of Sigmar and convert them to the new Berserkers of Khorne for the Warhammer 40k, because I don't like the Warhammer 40k Berserkers. They are too old and they suffer quite a lot. So combine the different ways of the through and so on can be quite amazing. So I suggest you eventually to do such. Then we can find about basing the armies, and about this I want to remember you that I created also a playlist about basing and creating the different bases, analysis of bases and so on, so you can go also to see that one. You can find the playlist in the description. Here painting, and can be quite interesting to understand, for example, how to paint the skin and so on, and so having a bit of attention about this, how to paint the blood and so on. About the blood, I also realized a video about how to create some type of blood, so eventually you can go also to see that one. It's always in the description. Here about Middle Earth, and here there is a battle report about it. Sincerely, I don't like, the Middle Earth game, so I'll not go to see it. But one thing I suggest to do, and is see this way to do. I mean, go to see the shining elements, because these ones you can recreate them. For example, these can be done with some planks and sticks that you can find quite easily, and create such effect can be really quite interesting. And so maybe I suggest you to go to see, because it's good to create your shining elements. Then we have an analysis about the rules for Underworld with Beast Grave. So for the ones that are interested, can be quite interesting article. Here a fiction related about Underworld Beast Grave. And so even if you don't like maybe the game, you can appreciate the fiction, because it can be quite interesting. And also it make a deeper analysis of the background of Age of Sigmar. Here new rules about Blackstone Fortress, because in every number the GU brings new rules about the Blackstone Fortress, so quite interesting for the ones that play. Here new rules about Necromunda, so also this can be really quite an amazing one. As you can see, there are a lot of things that you can have about the Necromunda. And here the third part about Faith and Fire. So about Faith and Fire. So you can see another part about the novel that it is, and almost a book, almost, because it's really quite long, and this is a complete chapter about. So quite a good thing, not to buy the White Dwarfs only to have this, but surely a nice add-in to the releasing about the White Dwarf, because here you can find a lot of things that complement each other, and having some background like so, I think that it's really quite good. Here we have the Inside Studio with some things that we will see in the next videos. And here we can find a better detailed image of the alternative cover of the White Dwarf of this month. And finally here we can find that there will be something related about orcs and mainly about Gatskultraka in the next number of the White Dwarf. So what to think about this White Dwarf? I think that it's really quite good. There are a lot of rules. The ones that have to play the Ossiarch Bonereapers are really quite interested about the contents. The ones that go to play the Deathwatch too, because there is a lot, even if I suspect that soon there will be the release about facts related about the Deathwatch, so that the contents inside here will be public, and not only the ones that are going to play the Deathwatch will be able to play with them, because they are official. There are a lot of adding of other rules. There are a lot of things that you can have as a reference for modeling, painting, conversions and so on. So I think that it's a really complete number and really quite worth of your money. So from Dynamod it's everything. I invite you to put a like on this video, to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell, and to comment this video if you are interested in something about this video, or you want to suggest me some arguments for other videos. I hope to see you again to the next time.